Exercise 8A. He says here, review of the use of first order linear recurrence relation to generate the terms of a sequence. You are going to learn in 8A, what is a sequence? Okay. What is a sequence? A sequence is a list of numbers written down in succession. That's it. What's an example? Here we go. 2, 4, 6, 8, 9, oh, not 9, 10, 12. I know, so easy. This is called a sequence. It's a series of numbers that follow one after the other, okay? Not adding on each other, not subtracting each other, but it follows a sequence. There's a pattern to this. That's what a sequence is. So in this sequence, there is a pattern. What's the pattern? What am I doing? I'm adding 2. Later on, you'll learn the names for it, but essentially there are 2 types of patterns you can get. It's either arithmetic or geometric. Geometric just means multiplication and division, whereas arithmetic is add and subtract. Okay, but in this session, all you need to know, a sequence is literally a list of numbers that follow one after the other. In the sequence, each of these numbers are called terms. Okay, and they usually give it what they call the nth term. What it means is there has to be a starting number. Starting number, they usually call it the n0. So n0, because that's telling you that's the very first, that's the like patient 0. Or, yeah, essentially patient 0, the very first person. Okay? Whereas afterwards, every other term we label with a subscript n1 for the second one, but really it's the first one after the original person. And then n2, n3, and it goes on infinitely. So you're going to learn in 8B how to utilize those nth variables is what you're going to learn to use. At the moment, you're just learning sequence. That's it. So in this example over here, if you have a look at example 1, which I've already done, I've got example video there. They ask you to write down the first 5 terms. What is a term? It's any of those items there. But they want you to start the sequence, which is a series of numbers that follow one after the other, starting with the value 6. And the rule is add 4 to each of them. So that's what I did. I start off with 6, I add 4, I get to my next term. N1 is 10, N2 is 14, N3 is 18, and N... What's that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 4. N4 is 22. Okay? So my N0 is 6. That's my very original term. That's my first term. Okay? So that's what exercise 8A is going to be. Literally, in the next example, it's the same thing. They just added an extra thing now. They're saying, what if you start a sequence of 5 and the rule was double the number and then subtract 3? So I started with 5. Double 5 is 10, subtract 3 is 7. That's my next term. My next one, N2, was double that number. So double 7 is 14, take away 3, it's 11. Okay, so I'm just following the rule that they gave me. So the first rule was just addition, or it could be subtraction. And then in the second one, they did a combination now, right? But the numbers that you write down are called terms. And then together, that's called a sequence. And that's exercise 8A. Okay, there's only 2 questions in 8A. So if I zoom out for you, you can see that 8A, that's all you're doing. That's why I'm doing 2 exercises today. Okay? Now, there is one thing I do want to teach you, and I actually had a student message me during my class asking, how do they do this on your calculator? And in your textbook, when you read it, it's quite confusing, and I'll show you. It's very straightforward and easy. Okay? But this is how you do it. On your calculator, say I wanted to start off with the number 5, right? So I'm just going to make it larger so you can see. My sequence is 5. You actually have to press 5 and enter it. So I press 5, so number 5, and then I press enter. You need to do this because this sets what the first number is. What are you going to do to this number now? Say I want to add 4, right? I say I want to add 4. You don't have to write 5 plus 4 again, but what you can do is press the plus button. So you just press plus, and it automatically says answer. So whatever your previous answer was, because you defined it already, well, not that you defined it, but essentially you said in the calculator 5. So by pressing enter there, now it's easier. You can just say plus 4. So I'm going to press plus 4. And once I press enter, it gives me 9, right? But now the beauty here is your last formula that you set there was plus 4. If I continue to press enter, I don't have to type plus 4 anymore. So that gives me the sequence. Okay, so in your textbook, it may sound confusing when you're reading it, and that's probably why the student was asking me how do you do it. You need to enter the number first. Okay, so enter the number first, and then that's in your calculator understands, okay, I've got a 5. What are you doing with that 5? Next line, you tell it the rule. So if my rule was to times 2 and then subtract 3, then I need to type the rule in the second line. Then you press enter continuously and it'll do it for you. So these are my sequence. 5, 9, 13, 17, 21. Okay? So just make sure that you understand that. Otherwise, when you want to generate it, you don't want to always be doing it by hand. Okay? So here we go. I'm going to do another sequence for you to see. Clear. So I start off with, I think it was 6, was it? Or was it 5? I think it was 5. And they said times by 2 and then subtract 3, right? So I press 5, press enter. You don't need to type the answer. You don't need to write A and S. All you literally do is type times, and it'll come up with A and S straight away. Okay, so I press the time symbol, and I said times 2, subtract 3. I press enter. That's how I got my 7 before. Double 7, subtract 3 should give me 11. If I just press enter now, it gives me 11. Double 11 gives me 22. Subtract 3 should give me 19. So I just press enter, and it gives me the sequence. Okay, so enter the number first, then type in the rule, and you can just press enter continuously to get your sequence. Cool? All right. There we go. That's my video for exercise 8A, but I am going to move on to 8B, and then we'll do a separate video for that one.